So welcome everybody to Meet the Author with Kitty Cheng. So we're here tonight to talk about Kitty's book, Juggling Health and Wealth. Okay, so this is published by Busybird Publishing, and there's tons of stuff that we can talk about actually, but I guess what I wanted to sort of start off with is this is actually a really good book to be talking about at the start of the year, isn't it? Because it's, you know, at the start of the year we like to think that it's a fresh new start and we can start with some new strategies, and you know, we all start with good intentions and what have you. Yeah. So Kitty, how about we start with a little bit about your background. So, you know, why have you come to sort of be studying about health and things like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I was born with a hole in my heart, which is a congenital heart defect. Mm-hmm. And as a result of that, since a young girl, I was always not able to do any form of exercise. Mm-hmm. And I felt like I was never good enough. My two brothers, they were fantastic in their athletic abilities, and they were like runners and this and that. So because of that, I've always cherished, you know, the ability to be healthy, even though like up until 10 years old, I was sort of just sitting here when we were at the physical education classes. And then I had an operation then at 10. And so that was sort of one part of my history. And the other part is my dad. Mm-hmm. He worked really, really hard. He was a very, very successful businessman and wealthy as well. Mm-hmm. But because of that, he actually spent all his time in his business, like 80 and 100 hours a week, to the point that we kids didn't have time to spend with him.
So no balance.
No balance. So from the point of view of, you know, juggling, you know, the balance between health and wealth, to me, you know, wealth is not just about the financial side of things, but also, you know, the overall health.
Well, you can have all the money in the world, but if you get sick, even if you've got money to, you know, go to the hospital or what have you, sometimes it's too late if you haven't looked after your machine, really, because it is a machine, isn't it?
Yeah, we're a biological machine, and my dad had cancer, and he was overweight and obese, and that was also another reason why I'm so passionate about what I do as a weight management coach. And he had cancer and he died when he was only 52, and because he was spiraled down with all the work that he did. So if you could say, if you could talk about your book in, you know, sort of a sentence, like if you were, you know, recommending it to someone, what would be the thing that you hope people get out of the book? Well, I have like 5 dimensions of health that I would love people to be learning about, and I use this action anchor. So anchor is like spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, and social health. So I would love people to be having, you know, a holistic health. So that's the 5 dimensions.
And do you think that's easy to do?
No, it's not. No. It's not easy, but it's quite simple if we're able to learn the basics, the resources, the tools that I've written in the book. And I think it's doable.
And so what is the best way for people to start, besides reading the book, obviously?
Well, I think to start off with, I have sort of studied, you know, this guy who does juggling, right? So that's why the juggling comes about. Is like how to keep all your balls in the air successfully. It's not so much about juggling. It's actually being able to balance first before you juggle. So I guess to start off, we really need to find the one thing or the important priority in your life that you focus on doing, and then from there, then you juggle. So say, you know, if your relationship, your, you know, spiritual life, your finance, whatever it is, that you focus on that first, and then you juggle based on that.
And it's tricky, isn't it? Because everyone is so busy, everyone's doing so much, and there's always this I guess, wish that everyone thinks that they can have it all. You know, you can be successful, you can be healthy, you can have everything. But it does take work. It's not something that just happens. You've got to work at it every day, don't you?
That's right. That's right. And so within this, I have 3 sort of models. It is to unlock your wealth, to nurture your health, and find your flow. So these are the 3 things that I believe if we are able to master will be able to do well in juggling. So in terms of unlocking your wealth, it's not so much about the material gain only, even though financial resources can certainly help us if we have more money. But then I believe that, a bank account alone is not good enough. We really need to have that balance. So hence, find your flow. Like that flow is about priorities, about balance, and then nurturing your health is in the middle. In that, if we don't have health, then we don't have anything. So I always have the ethos that your first wealth is your health.
Okay. So if someone came to you today and said, I just, I give up on, I don't want to be in business, it's too much stress, what would be the first thing that you would look at to help them? To help them, yes. I have had people come to me say that, and I personally have thought about giving up too, because it can be really stressful and all that. I think is to find out what your real life purpose is. Life purpose is so important. Like you can use your business as your purpose, like use it as a way to help others. But then if business comes to a point where it's going to be affecting your life, your relationship, and the important things, then I guess you can just slow down and take some time out and reassess what you need to do, and there's always opportunity to go back to it. I think too the danger of people being in their own business is that, especially when you're first starting out, you might have to do 10, 12-hour days, and even if you're really passionate about what you're doing, that can get really tiring because there's no balance and you're not switching off, and so you're always thinking about work. And so you might have gone from working in a job for a wage, and then you're in a business, and you're actually working harder and more hours than you were before. And so then you wonder, why am I doing this?
I know. That's
everyone else is on it's a long weekend this weekend. Everyone else is going away.
I'm working.
People are working. So, are you just buying yourself a job that's harder? You made it.
Thanks for coming.
So it's about really assessing too. Even if you're passionate about something, is working harder actually getting you to the goal that you want?
That's right. Well, that's why I advocate working smarter rather than working harder, because if you just keep on working so hard, and you, like my dad, he worked so hard, but then ultimately he lost his health, and he spent all the time and effort and his health to earn his wealth, but then he ultimately need to use his wealth to try and gain back his health, but he couldn't. He spiraled down and he died. So from the point of view of working harder and smarter, I think you need to think about, in terms of creating wealth, if not really like talking about a lot of money, I talk about the 5 pillars, budgeting, leverage is an important part of understanding how people in business can gain support through other people, through people that are doing things alongside you, and then leverage bliss, BLI, is investing. So you invest in yourself. When you invest in yourself, it's not so much only just about investing in things that will give you money, but self-love, self-compassion, self-help. And I have a chapter called Oxygen Mask. Oxygen Mask means that, like, when you go on a plane, you would have always this instruction that you put your oxygen mask on before assisting others. And if we don't, I am guilty. I've always been guilty of working hard to a point that I get sick. I do that. And that's why now I'm so reminded after writing this book, I am mindful of the importance of having self-love and just rest and restore and that kind of thing.
Because I hear a lot of, because I'm in a small business, I talk to a lot of other business owners, and people will say, I don't have time, I can't afford the time to take time off. And I say to them, well, but can you afford to be sick? Because if you even if you love what you do and you're doing well, at some point you're going to reach a breaking point, if you like, or just get physically exhausted. And then you have sort of, if it takes sickness, 2 years say to get sick, it's probably going to take 2 years to get well again.
Yes, to that
it takes
point.
a long time. So it's actually about self-preservation, isn't it?
It is. That's right. And the other thing is also carved out time to rest.
Yeah.
And I think in the past I've always been just go to the point that I did get sick quite often.
Yeah.
And then now having done all this training on nutrition and health and wellness and all that, I realized that every year, like when I have my planner, my diary, I just craft out time that I need to rest. Once a week, at least like a day or two, and then craft out time for holidays and to go to retreat and stuff like that. So important.
So this book came out last year.
Yes.
How did you find the writing of it? Did you find it hard, or was it therapeutic, or what were the sort of things that you found that surprised you as you were writing it?
Yeah, well, I find that it's not so much about just having the book at the end, which was exciting, but the journey along the way as I was writing it, that really helped me, to go inside of myself. And this book was in the making for 9 years. I actually had this for a long time because I used to write a journal, and a lot of the things were from my own journal that was in this book. But I think as I was writing it, I was really reminded of the importance, of how you need to balance. So I think what was surprising was that the personal development, the growth that I went through, even though it was only a few months, in the making of it, that I felt like I've grown quite a fair bit writing this book.
And it's quite an achievement, isn't it? It's quite, when you hold the book in your hand and go, wow, there's a picture of you on the front.
Juggling the book.
Did Kev have to teach you how to do the juggling?
Yeah, I know. Kev is the expert in it. So,
so this book was sort of born, I guess, through doing the 48-hour author retreat with Natasha Denman.
That's right.
How did you feel actually going to that weekend? When you meet these other, I don't know how many were on there, maybe 10
authors.
How did you, when you're in this room with these other people also on that same journey, how did you find that experience?
I really enjoyed it. I find that they now are all my friends, I felt like, we're kindred spirits in the sense that we all had a message, even though the messages are all different. But, I believe that everyone that is a writer that likes to write and has a message to share are people that want to make a difference. And so when I met with each and every one of these people in the retreat, I learned about, their expertise and what they have been learning and studying. And it has, improved a lot of my, knowledge and skills. And now seeing, different people doing different things through leveraging the book, whether it's what I've started doing, coaching, which I've been doing with my job, my career, my business, but this has added to it, and others, they've, been able to start, practices and clinic and stuff like that. It has been really exciting to see.
That's great. Last week I was at that networking group with you, and you said something that really resonated with me, which I was kind of a bit annoyed that I've never thought of it.
What did I say?
You said it's almost, because there are a lot of people who want to write a book, they kind of feel like it's a bit self-indulgent, or they think who am I to write a book? I don't know everything. And you said it was actually a little bit selfish not to do it because you have all of this knowledge to share with people that can help.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I did think of that. Why are you this idea basically came to me because as I grew up, I was a girl that always loved reading, and I still do. My goal is to read 52 books a year, 1 a week, which is impossible. Last year, I thought I read about 20-something books, but it's an ideal. Yes. It's an ambitious goal, but anyway, so that goes to show how much I love reading. If I don't have to work and all the time that I have, I will be reading, apart from socializing. So it's a combination because I love people as well. But I find that as I read, these people, they actually pour out their heart. They pour out what they've been given as their gift and the resources and the knowledge. And I felt felt I'm so grateful for these people when I read their books.
Yeah.
So for people that have a message to share, if they don't, definitely they're selfish.
Yeah.
So for those of you here and people watching, if you have a message to write, I would say go for it, because if you don't do it, then you're depriving others of what you know.
Yeah, and if it helps one person,
yes,
in their journey, then it's worth it, isn't
That's
it?
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only been about 6 months since I first launched this book, and I've had so many really good feedback, which is so humbling. Seriously, that this book has been able to help them, and it's not even because of what I've written, but because they, I guess, have experienced things that perhaps my experience has sort of resonated with them.
Yeah. I think that's really sort of important in terms of the community or humanity, is that when we read something from someone else, we feel like we're connected.
Yes,
you might go, oh, this person gets me.
Yes.
So it actually makes you feel less lonely, doesn't it?
Oh, yes.
Yes, definitely.
Chapter 5,
Okay.
mindful living, because I have been the type of person, for those of you who know me, that is always go, really quick, really just going through the motion. So 4 years ago, I started learning about this mindful practice, and I've enlisted a mindful coach, John Shearer. I know that you may be watching. He's my mindfulness coach, and he has been the person that has helped me so much about mindful living. And since then, I've been able to really enjoy the moment and understand that I don't really need to always regret about the past and worried about the future, but to live this moment to help people and to help myself understand the importance of being right here, right now. So with that chapter, I have a number of exercises that I personally have been using to help me be more calm and not, what I'm normally like.
Would you say I saw sort of a definition of some definitions of anxiety and depression recently, and they're saying anxiety is worrying about the future and depression is worrying about the past.
That's right. I resonate with that. Yes, I have experienced both. With depression, since my dad died, that was the very first moment that I felt I had lost a part of me. My dad, I really loved him and he loved me when he died. I just felt, I think that was the beginning of my experience of depression. Obviously, I got better, and then on and off, I at times would have different episodes. And anxiety comes about when I am normally, I'm a high achiever and I'm driven. And when I'm not able to reach the goals that I set, I tend to become anxious. And so this mindfulness technique
sort of
really helps me to be in the moment.
Okay. All right, I'm going to read a bit.
Okay, sure. Thanks. Please.
So this is called Mindful Living, Chapter 5, and it's a little quote at the start. Be mindful. Life doesn't get better by chance. It gets better by change. That's by John Shearer. The focus of my life in recent years has been learning about mindfulness. I've always been a high achiever since I was young. Growing up, seeing my father as a wealthy, successful businessman taught me the values of determination, hard work, and courage. However, like my father, my life journey has taken me down various roads with different twists and turns. I have always wanted to make a difference in people's lives, so I chose to study psychology and mission studies at university. In the last decade, I've been involved in both non-profit ministry work and several business ventures. I have always been multitasking and super busy in my day-to-day life. Because of that, my mind is always busy and filled with multiple thoughts. There's a little monkey.
Monkey chat.
Mine's like that, isn't it, Kev?
Oh, yes. I have
Research shows that if we are not paying attention intentionally, our brain clicks into default mode, where we operate on automatic pilot with mental chatter and mind wandering. We're just going through the motions mindlessly. This is characterised by our mind dwelling on the past and worrying about the future, judgment and criticism. That's great.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to read just a little bit as a teaser, because you have to buy the book. So, what was I going to say?
Well, there is a mindful stop exercise that perhaps if you like,
Oh,
we can go through it. Yeah.
Is it in here?
Sure. I love doing that with my clients. And I've got clients that I help with wellness and weight management. And many of them find that if they try to lose weight, for example, it's not so much only about the weight. It's also about their sort of looking at where they're at and their self-image and all that. So if they're able to do that mindful stop when they're having that depression or anxiety, that can actually help them right here, right now.
Okay. So
do you want to?
Do you want to take us through it, or shall I read it out?
I can take you guys through it if you want to. Go through it with me, guys. Okay. Cool. So just imagine that you're now, right at this moment, like you're not in the past. Don't think about the past, don't think about the future. So if you want, you can close your eyes, but you don't have to. First of all, just slow down. You may be going through within your day-to-day, very, very busy, and you can just slow down right now. Take some deep breath in and deep breath out. As you do that, S stands for slow down, okay? And then T is to take notice. So as you slow down, take notice of your thoughts and your feelings right now. You may have some thoughts that are going through your mind right now. Don't try to push them away or embrace them, and just observe them. Now, what I would like you to do is to observe them as if you are in a sushi restaurant. When you see that sushi train, those sushis that are moving around, those thoughts that are helpful are the sushis that you like to eat. Take that on board. And the sushis that you don't particularly like, then you can just let that go. Just go around. So that is the analogy that I'd like you to think about when you have thoughts that are coming into your mind next time, whether they are positive or negative, they are helpful or unhelpful, is to think of them like the sushi train, if you do eat sushi, that is. And so that is the take notice of your thinking and your feeling as well. And STO is to open up. O stands for open up. So you open up yourself to embrace things that you feel will help you become a better you right here, right now. Always think of yourself being in this moment, because this is the only moment that you have. The past is gone. The future is not here yet. Right now is called the present, and it's a gift. That's why it's called the present. So open up to what you feel will bring you positive impact in your life. And then the last word of stop is P. P stands for pursue. Pursue values. Every one of us will have some values. And when you are looking at this moment, when you're being mindful, whatever that you decide to do need to be aligned with your values. Whether it's your family, whether it's relationship, spirituality, finance, for me it's health, whatever it is, you need to find out your values and then pursue them. And when you're able to do that, then your life will be filled with mindfulness. And this stop may take a long time, or you can just take, like a couple of minutes a day in the middle of your busyness to just slow down, take notes, open up, and pursue your values. So So you can open your
I feel
eyes.
calm now.
So that's what mindful exercise.
Yeah, you should come into Busy Bird every day and do that. Okay, so what is your sort of plans with this book? What are you thinking ahead? You know, what's 2018?
2018, yes. Well, monthly, I'm planning to have a half-day workshop based on the content of my book. Obviously, it'll be more practical. So it's I've already done the first one on the 11th of January. Kayla was there, and basically will be every first Thursday of every month from 9 to 1. And so those 4 hours, I'll be really unpacking in details of the book and with different exercises. And so when people come to that workshop, they'll be able to learn more practical things than just reading it. Because I'm sure those of you who have got my book or haven't, you would understand that like just reading a book is one thing, but really being able to apply is another thing.
Immersing yourself in it.
That's right, yes. Yeah. And my dad, he's a fan of Bruce Lee. Yes. You all know Bruce Lee? Bruce Lee said these things like when he teaches his people how to fight, and that is knowing without doing is not knowing. So it's like, you know how to fight, but if you don't do it when you are out there, doing the fighting. But it goes with anything, whether it's your, business. If you know the techniques that you need to do, but if you don't do it, or in relationship, you need to have date night with your husband and your wife, and you don't do it, like that kind of thing. So it's the same with reading a book. You probably know, what you need to do. The theory. Common sense is not always common. So when we actually have that workshop, my aim and my goal is to be able to actually help the participants to really apply what they learn from the book.
Great.
Yes.
Good. So that's once a month?
Once a month I'll have that. And throughout this year, I've already been very blessed, invited to different speaking gigs. And this book has really opened up many opportunities. Like you mentioned Natasha Damon, who is my coach for the Ultimate 48-Hour Author, and I'm going to be doing a workshop with her. Both of us will be the keynote speakers, and then we have different, every month until June now, I have different speaking engagements. So I will be posting that on my Facebook and my social media and my website. And if any of you are interested in, coming along,
that's great. Good. And actually, it was interesting what you were saying about Bruce Lee talking about, the knowing versus doing. It's the same with writing, because I talk to so many people who say, "Oh, I'm going to write a book." It's easy, but doing it is a different thing, isn't it? And even writing a first draft of a book is one thing, but actually to get it to publishable stage and then to go and publish it is another thing again.
That's right.
So, congratulations for doing this, because it's quite a big thing.
Derek will tell you, the first time when we, the year that we got married, 2009, was the first year that I was telling myself and him and everyone else, I'm going to write a book. Like I've actually been wanting to write a book, because since a young girl I always loved writing and journaling and all that. But it's not until 2017, 8 years later, that I finally,
But you manifested it, didn't you?
I did.
So that's good.
Yes.
What of all the books that you've read, maybe in the self-help area, what are some of the books that really have, helped you or resonated with you? Are there any particular ones?
Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People is one of my favorites. I find that to be able to connect with others, and it's not only just about techniques, and what he writes about in that book is about to influence people, you need to win friends first. And I think that book has a lot of influence on how I connect with people, with friends, and do business as well. The relationship building part of it. Yes. And then the other one is Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, and he basically talks a lot about, a lot of people think of it as richness in terms of money, but within that there's a lot of mindset and mentality change, paradigm shift that one needs to learn about. And because of that, I've actually used the same kind of semantic and and call my business Transform and Grow Rich, because to me transformation is a key word. And I love to be able to be a transformation facilitator, meaning that it's not so much about me trying to change people. I basically am a bridge to facilitate people to make the change.
It's great. Good. Well, we might have some questions now. Has anyone got any questions for Kitty? Must be something.
What was your, like, apart from your dad, what was your main influence for the book? Like, I know you always wanted to write, but what I could understand what you're trying to say here in the book. But what is your main inspiration? Like, apart from dad, your personal experience, it's about helping people.
Sure.
But what's the main thing that influenced you to write this book?
Influenced me to write this book, yes. Well, I guess it's about applying what I've learned into, like, writing this book just so that other people can, get what I've learned. Maybe that's because I see that a lot of people. They do understand the importance of health, but then they're only just focusing on the physical side of things. So my focus in this book is the holistic side of things. So it's like the spiritual, emotional, mental, social, and physical. So it's the well-being of the mind, body, soul, spirit, and physical. So I think to have a book sort of in one, in one book to write about all of that is perhaps a good way for people to just learn.
Because there's lots of people who are really physically fit, but who may still get cancer.
Oh yes.
You look at someone and go, they've got cancer, they look so healthy. They seem to have everything in order, but obviously maybe they're stressed.
That's true.
Or whatever it is.
Because our body, mind, spirit are all very connected.
Any other questions?
Sorry. Kitty, you've spoken a lot about your father, how he had a great influence on you. But also what I've seen, you've got that relationship with your mother as well, and because your father died so young, that obviously she was sort of like a mainstay for you, and because he wasn't working all the time, obviously she was always there for you.
Yes. That's right. Yeah, you've got a very good observation. That's right. My mom is like my friend, not just a mom. Like, I would even say that she's one of my best friends. And she was only 40 something. Like, when my dad died, she would be my age, and I can't even imagine, having like 3 kids, having to look after us, and she was so strong. And it's true that my mom now is a really close friend, not just a mom, but at the time, without her, we kids wouldn't have been able to live still such a comfortable and stable life. And I'll be forever grateful. And she's such a great role model for me as well. She's very strong, and she's very, she's a woman of strength in the sense that, it's so difficult for her. My dad died and she was still able to support us. And we came over to Australia as a result of my dad passed away, and, totally changed. Very brave, new environment. And I'm so grateful to be in Melbourne, to be living in such a beautiful city, and it was my mum's choice.
What does she think of the book?
Well, she doesn't understand much English, and that's why now we're going to be having it in Chinese. It's very interesting. Like, my mom, she she understands verbal English a lot more than written. Reading is different. So she understands. I try to explain it to her in Chinese. So now the next exciting thing is we'll have the book translated to Chinese and published hopefully soon.
That's exciting.
And she can read it, and I can ask her what she thinks then. But she does understand what I write about, because we always share.
That's great. Cool.
Kitty, in your book you mentioned keeping all the balls up in the air, but in order of preference, what would you prefer to do in a day if you were given 24 hours, and how would you divide your time?
Yes, very good question, Jimmy. Well, in the last chapter, I talk about the be okay, the one thing. It's very important for us to actually find the one thing for that particular moment. That's why it's tied into the mindfulness that it's the most important. So right this moment for me is social life, is connection. But perhaps, the next moment it would be my business, and that will be like, physical. So it's different moment, you will have different balls. That's why if you look at, if you come to my workshop, you see a video that I show. It's like this young man, he's actually doing the balancing before the juggling. It's basically not so much about having everything being able to, juggle, but you balance and you find the one thing first. To me, every part of, the 5 dimensions of health is important, but then we need to see right at that particular moment what is important. That's how I see it. Does that make sense? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Christy?
Well, I haven't read the book yet because I've just gotten it today, but I think that just even from the idea of the juggling, I think that that's quite good because not everyone knows how to juggle. So
Yes.
it's sort of something that you would have to obviously learn, and having workshops would be, such a good thing. So people could realise it's something to be learned over a process of time rather than going, I read the book, I know how to do it. So it's actually putting into practice and learning how to juggle all these things. So I think that it's quite a powerful idea that you come up with. Yeah, so that's what you're expecting.
It's a really great question. The most challenging part was that I had to be really focused because I'm the kind of person that can be easily distracted. So I actually gave myself the goal of finishing it by a certain time, and so I just went into my home office and focused, and that was challenging. And then you may be focusing on that as your priority. That may be the ball that you're focusing in on, and then once you finish, then that's what they always say. Even as a businesswoman, I was always taught, my business mentor say, like, as an entrepreneur, that you can spend a few years of your time doing what most people don't do, but then you will be able to then spend the rest of your time having what most people don't have. And it's the same thing as writing a book. I guess that's the challenging part, like you really need to focus.
And like I said before, a lot of people talk about it and never do it. And that's why, if you go to a party, someone says, I'm writing a book, and people go, yeah, right, because, it's, I don't know how many, if you're a fast typer, you can write 1,000 words in an hour.
Yes.
But, when you write a book, you don't just write the book and then you give it to the publisher. You got to go over it and refine your ideas and all of that kind of thing. So there is a bit of work involved. So you have to kind of treat it like a little business in a way itself. So
yes,
great.
And I'm very keen to learn more about publishing and from your point of view.
Well, I mean, what we find here, and luckily we're small, so we all are very hands-on with the books. But what I find is I just see the growth that people go through in the writing of the book, and it doesn't matter whether it's poetry or business books or fiction novellas. There's a certain amount of growth because you're looking at your ideas. Everything that's going up in your head actually becomes something much more succinct. And that's very, anytime books come from the printer, we're as excited here as the actual author. Because it's like, their baby's been born.
It feels like it was giving birth to a baby.
Well, sometimes I feel like a midwife, because it's sort of help.
Wow, I love
quite
that
as
thought.
messy.
My publisher is my midwife. I love that.
So and so it's very satisfying actually to work with people. So it's great.
And it's such a great profession and career. Like being published, I can imagine, to help so many authors achieve their dreams. Because it's probably a bucket list for many people to have a book written and published. And to be able to help them. So thank you.
So thanks so much for coming tonight. So this is Juggling Health and Wealth by Kitty Cheng, and it's how to keep all your balls in the air successfully. So I encourage you to buy it if you haven't got it already. This is my copy, but you can have a look at it if you want. I'm assuming you've got
I've
some
got a
more.
few, yes.
Yeah. And I think we're going to have some music now.
Okay, yes,
Yeah?
that's right.
Is
I've
that-
got a really good friend,
Yeah?
Jimmy Fong.
So Jimmy Fong, are you going to sing a song for us?
You're gonna, is this finish?
Yeah.
Only when you finish.
So, so let's thank Kitty for. And we can stop now.
Okay.
But we can. Do you want to video it so we can put it up on?
No.
We can put it up on.
It's not about me.
But we can. But we can
as a
still put
friend.
it up. We can
I would love
We can
to.
have a drink
No, we
and have a song at the same time.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, it's
Why
good.
not?
Yeah.
I must say, I love here. The first time I came here, don't know this wonderful couple that runs it, but after I play a song and the amount of hospitality from this beautiful people was great, and I sort of keep coming back, and that's how I got to know Kitty.
Yes.
But coming back to your book and just my experience of it, I've been cut a long story short, I always have been a musician as well as a businessman.
Yeah.
And having a Chinese Malaysian background is very much instilled in you that doing art is not really profession. But to me,
You can understand that.
yeah, I love art more than being a businessman. So what is a businessman? A businessman to a husband is, or a father is to support your family, and you do that diligently. But when you get too much of it, you seems to get hooked with it, and you don't know when to stop. So that's when I find Kitty's book was a constant reminder of that, because her father's condition, and when her father passed away at 52, and I look at myself, good God, I outlived.
52.
Yeah, I outlived her father by 6 years.
Yeah.
So I better watch myself,
Yeah.
because you know, we don't really have a never-ending supply of what we've got in that is our body, our health. And then about a month ago, I'd done my back. I couldn't even move, and that's when I realized that your body is indeed very important for you.
Yes.
But good job, I do realize some of these problems. So about 8 months ago, I decided to let my wife run the business, and I said, I'm going to do more concerts. Went back to Malaysia,
Yes. Exciting.
where I was.
He's going to take over, eh?
Yeah. Neil Diamond,
Yeah.
he was studying under me, pal. Only kidding. Anyway, on that note, this is a song when I was, freezing cold here in the lounge room, my house about a mile away from here. I thought, yeah, this is relevant to the book as well. You'll pick up the lyrics. Nowadays, the boss is hard to please. Nowadays, you're running here and there. Nowadays, they say they want it now. That's what it is now. Then every day, you work the light away. Come what may, Friday's payday, you say, hey, that's my day. Well, catch me flying away. Everybody say where?
Where?
shining on the sea. I like to go to Langkawi. Gonna lay underneath the coconut trees and pick a day. I bet there is warmer than where you lay. It could be wrong tonight. Just catch her in the waterfall that God has made and watch the eagles fly all day. Then there's no way you still worry till your head turns grey. Life is short, my friend, so I say, leave the burden, let's get away. Everybody say, where again? Well, I like to go to Langkawi, where the sun is shining on the sea. I like to go to Langkawi. Gonna lay underneath the coconut trees. Then live like there's no tomorrow, for life is in your hands. Happiness is the road we walk instead of where we'll stand. I'll pick up my sorrows and lay them on the sand. I'm here in Langkawi, where the sun is shining down on me. I'm here in Langkawi. Gonna lay underneath the coconut trees. I will lay underneath the coconut trees. Thank you very much. So, it's your time to book a ticket and get away.
Yes, to Langkawi.
Yeah, that's what I like to do. I do that all the time. So whenever you get stressed,
Yeah.
Yes.
I suppose
And listening to-
Air Asia is cheap.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Well, even listening to music is
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
fantastic way to
a really
relax.
good way to check out.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so as I said to you, Blaise, at the best of time, I don't think I can read a book in a year. I mean, I think a book in a year, let alone 52 books in a year. but my pick is whenever I get the chance to sit down, I will match the words to songs.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's a different form of storytelling.
It's
isn't it?
yeah, that's right.
It is.
So I did write a book called, I'll share this with you. You want to hear another one?
Yes, please.
Yeah, this song, it goes like this. Those noisy monkeys inside my head. Yeah, those noisy monkeys inside my head, keeping me awake from sleeping in my bed. Chit-chat around and round, my mind's in the spin and overwhelmed. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. So I dance and I dance, I kick them blues out of my door. I dance and I dance until I feel something like that.